It's a warm welcome to our studio here in Sarakunda. This is Star TV News with Momodu Bailabare. In the headlines tonight, officers critically injured in Gunjur immigration post attack. Bore Ture advises government not to entertain impunity. GTU in consultations with authorities over diesel price increase spare parts. Victim Center condemns Sheikh Omar Fai's comments. In other news, Mexico government says it will continue to use AstraZeneca. COVID creates economic concerns during Benin presidential election. Turkey fumes after Italian PM Draghi called Erdogan a dictator. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. The Gunjur immigration post was last night attacked by unknown assailants 48 hours after its inauguration. The public relations officer of the Gambia Immigration Department, Chief Superintendent Mamanden Diba, told Star TV that a number of officers have sustained injuries in the attack, some critically. Chief Superintendent Diba said the critically injured have been evacuated to the health center in the coastal town, but could not say how many have been actually injured. The immigration this evening said it would convene a press conference in Gunjur over the matter, and it ends. Solicitor and barrister of the Supreme Court, Bori Esture, has expressed fear TRRC may suffer similar fate as all other commissions before it. The former magistrate yesterday told the Truth Commission that the Gambia is currently faced with a problem of leadership and urged the government not to entertain an air of impunity over unrestrained rights violations under Jammeh's 22-year rule. Binta Koli has more in this report.
Bore Esture on Thursday said his hopes for the reform of the post-Jammeh army and the security sector have been shattered. The former traveling magistrate added that he was hopeful the borough government was going to implement the recommendations of other commissions, but was equally disappointed. Bore Ture believes that the lethargy that accompanied the previous commission should not befall the TRRC because the nation is in trauma. The healing process, he asserted, hinges largely on accountability.
As the army is concerned, I was very hopeful that there was going to be security sector reforms. But I'm disappointed. I was hopeful that the commissions of inquiries that actually were established I was hopeful that the government was going to implement the recommendations of those commissions of inquiry. But I'm equally disappointed. And I'm afraid that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report may be faced with the same degree of lethargy that at the end of the day it will only become stories in our bantabas. I think we are faced with the problem of leadership. I'm not doing politics, but this is our country. I'm calling on the government without any partisan feeling. People who took liberty, who took liberty into their hands and brutalized innocent Gambians. I'm appealing to the government that they must not allow an air of impunity over that.
Barrister Ture said he was disappointed in the average Gambian as, according to him, they helped prop up the dictatorship. He pointed out that Jammeh's crimes against citizens and non-citizens were perpetrated in cohorts with Gambians and that this has reshaped his line of thinking about the dependability of the Gambian character. testifying on Jammeh's overreaches on the judiciary through the use of law to entrench himself in power and victimize his opponents and perceived enemies. Toure explained that Jammeh was meddling in the judicial system, but that it got worse when he transformed himself into a civilian leader. He further explained that he came into conflict with the Jammeh government when he dismissed a case it had interest in, saying heavily armed security once attempted to intimidate him over the matter.
A truckload of soldiers were deployed in Banjul Magistrates Court.
Ye moto fa mumeole nati je wolunga bemu sojarolti ye nati Banjul Magistrate Court.
It was like a military camp.
Amunda wolunje bele ko sojar campo.
Some of them, in fact, entered right inside the courtroom under the roof of the court.
Jama fang sodon tamenu dunta nang kiti bunda fang nyin kono.
And were they armed?
They were all armed. All of them were armed. They were not, in fact, with riot gear. They came heavily armed.
Barrister Toure gave a counter-narrative of the notion that Jammeh used mercenary judges to hunt down Gambians.
We had foreign judges who came from Nigeria and Ghana, who rendered excellent, impeccable service to this nation. They were noble ambassadors of their countries.
And
the judgments that they have rendered in this jurisdiction will stand the test of time. Mercenary judges were judges who were appointed on contract by the government.
Masinari jojo lumenum ke fote jojo lumenu kado ko ke kodo kang wulumu molleti men yalan ko man sakunda le wulu tombong ifay.
I am referring to the foreign elements of the mercenary judges.
Wolem nyinti luntang kitindir la lumenu ka foye masinari judges men yalan ko e kado ko ke kodo le kang mbewol lemade.
But there were Gambians
bari Gambian dingulu fanalu sotonta
who feel the expectation of the profession. Judges.
Bori Toure said he remained steadfast in the face of attempts to intimidate him and that he survives thanks to God's protection. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Binta Kuli.
The Gambia Transport Union says it is in consultations with the government to regulate the transport sector. Currently, commercial vehicles drivers have been complaining of the recent increment in pump prices of fuel from $45 to $50. The price increase came at a time of widespread public dissatisfaction over the state of affairs regarding the unregulated transport sector. Dado Cham has more in that report.
The recent increase in pump price of diesel could not have come at a worse time for the Gambia Transport Union as it engages government on the issues of spare parts, fuel prices and documents. The Apex Transport Union said it's working with relevant authorities in finding ways of making the transport industry responsive to the needs of commuters as well as gainful for the stakeholders. But as the consultations reportedly progresses, the union has had to deal with another issue of fuel price increase. Its members are complaining that the increase will only add to their many problems on the roads. Kemo Kamara is a commercial vehicle driver and he told Star TV that the instability of pump prices of the fuel is compelling them to charge triple fares for one destination in order to get on.
The fuel price is seriously affecting our business. Some of us even prefer town trips because that allows you to stay at one place and wait for a passenger ready to pay well. Therefore, we are appealing to the government and the transport union to find answers to our problems.
The president of the Gambia Transport Union, Omar Cisse, said that this latest pump price increase will have negative impacts, especially coming at a time when the union is involved in talks with the authorities about the challenges of the transport industry. Mr. Cisse clarified that the fuel price increase is determined by the world market, but that the union is doing its utmost to find an amicable solution to the problem. Meanwhile, the transport union president said spare parts and vehicle documents are other issues that his members have been complaining of. The task of regulating the transport sector remains a pressing task as commuters continue to face numerous difficulties on the roads. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Dado Cham.
The Minister of Defense, Sheikh Omar Faye, is faced with a flood of criticisms for suggesting in his recent comments on a television show that Gambians should let bygones be bygones and forge ahead with national healing. The defense minister's comments have generated huge condemnations from political parties concerned Gambians within and outside the country. The latest condemnation of Defense Minister Fai's comments came from the Gambia Center for Human Rights Violations. The victim sent on Friday convened a press conference on the issue. Our Khadijatu Danso witnessed it.
The Victims Center on Friday convened a press conference to react to Sheikh Omar Fai's recent statement on the For the People by the People show on the Fatu network, which it says was unpleasant, demeaning, and highly insensitive. The center said the comments were ill-timed as they came at a time when the TRRC's mandate nears its end and the Commission's final report and recommendations expected to be submitted. Adam Ajalo is the national coordinator of the Victims Center. The chairman of Tango, John Charles Njai, said much of muchness is too much and that the minister's statement that Gambians should stop crying over spilled milk is not sensible because the atrocities of the past government are still fresh in the minds of Gambians. Tango boss said Gambians are sick and tired and are in need of responsible leadership that would empathize with them rather than a government that condemns its people. Jai went on to say that there appears to be no consequences for people alleged to have perpetrated heinous crimes against Gambians as their actions are considered misdemeanors, saying this must cease. He advised victims against apathy in the upcoming election, saying there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The chairman of the board of directors of Victim Center, Sharif Mohammed Kijira, also addressed the press conference. Kijira pointed out that former President Yahya Jammeh had confederates in crime as he urged President Barrow to be cautious while appealing to victims to remain patient. The Victim Center, he added, is here to ensure justice prevails. Different speakers during the conference expressed their disenchantment over the minister's comments. The Victim Center, meanwhile, expressed determination to engage the various political parties in ensuring the dispensation of justice at the end of the truth-telling exercise. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Khadijatu Danso.
Those were the local stories. We'll be back with the international news after the short break.
Sophie Milk ñu ngi fété juróom benn ati cafka bu dul dañ ñoo leen indil Jalika full cream milk powder neex saf sàpp te bari cafka pour di leen jërëjëfati si ni ngeen defee Sophie Milk seen favorite milk brand léegi mun ngeen a jëfandikoo empty Jalika milk sachets wala carton pour gagner ay xéewal yu riche pour gagner motorbike dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty carton yi Jalika milk pour gagner yeneen xéewal yu mel ni PlayStation 4 TV fridge freezer, gas cooker, bicycle wala mobile phone. Dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty Jalika milk sachets def leen si biir envelope binda si sa tur ak sa téléphone number. Mun ngeen ko yóbbu si bépp Jalika milk agent bu leen gën a jege. Pour xam bi si raful yi dem leen Jalika milk Facebook page. Jalika milk mooy meew bu ees bu leen so fi indel gën a neex saf sàpp te riche.
Of owning your dream homes, EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
And now news beyond our borders. Mexico says it will continue to use AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine, even though some countries have suspended its use after cases of blood clots following inoculations. And the European Union's drug regulator said the vaccine might cause a clot in rare cases. Al Jazeera's Manuel Rapallo reports from Mexico City.
Despite international concerns over the safety of the AstraZeneca vaccine, Mexican political leaders are trying to settle the doubts that many have about receiving the jab.
Sí me corresponde la AstraZeneca.
Yes, I will be receiving the AstraZeneca vaccine. It's been proven that the risks are minimum compared to the benefits.
And while Mexican health officials have said they are investigating claims by Britain's Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunization over a possible link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and a rare blood clotting disorder, there's no plan to suspend its use.
In short, relax. There's no scientific evidence that suggests a high risk of thrombosis from the AstraZeneca vaccine. Therefore, in a majority of countries where it's being used, it'll continue to be used.
Latin America is one of the worst hit regions in the world by the pandemic, and many countries have struggled to secure contracts with vaccine manufacturers.
The AstraZeneca vaccine is largely considered Latin America's most viable vaccine option, with both Mexico and Argentina signing agreements with the pharmaceutical giant to produce and distribute the vaccine across all of Latin America.
Despite safety concerns from European regulators, the consensus from health experts in Latin America is that the benefits outweigh the risks.
So this isn't unusual. So this is not undermining what the regulators are saying. The regulators are saying this vaccine is suitable for all age groups, but it's up to individual countries to decide how best to deploy those vaccines based on their knowledge of the epidemiology of the circulating virus in their own countries.
While some countries of the world have put a hold on their use of the AstraZeneca vaccine, most Latin American countries just seem willing to take whatever they can get. And for a region that continues to face the darkest days of the pandemic, it may be that suspending the use of the AstraZeneca vaccine is a luxury Latin Americans simply cannot afford. Manuel Rapallo, Al Jazeera, Mexico City.
Benin is gearing up for a presidential election on Sunday. It has one of the strongest economies in West Africa, but the pandemic is having an impact. The eastern border with its biggest trading partner, Nigeria, has been closed for the past 18 months. Al Jazeera's Ahmed Idris reports from Semi on the Benin-Nigeria border.
Logla Moise has been selling second-hand cars for more than 10 years in Seme, a border town between Benin and Nigeria. He says he's never lost so much income as he did in the past year.
We are totally paralysed. Ships that were supposed to bring in goods aren't coming as they used to. Those who buy from us are gone. Many employees have lost our jobs. Life's so hard for everyone involved in this business. Most of our clients are Nigerians. We don't see much of them these days. Their currency has lost its value and it's no longer profitable for them to buy.
On average, Benin imports 25,000 cars a month. While the vehicles are meant for countries like Niger, Chad and Burkina Faso, 80% of them end up in Nigeria. But despite the impact of COVID-19 and an 18-month-long border closure by Nigeria, Benin recorded a 2.3% growth. The slowdown is in commerce, transport, agriculture and hospitality industry.
Benin is an important maritime hub for many West African countries like Burkina Faso, Chad and Niger Republic. A substantial part of its revenue comes from cargoes of cars like this. But in the last year, revenues and exports have slowed due to COVID-19 and Nigeria shutting its borders. These cars have been sitting here for months waiting for buyers.
Apollinaire Fonyenoun imports and supplies medical equipment to clients in Benin and beyond. He says prospects for recovery are bright.
With so many vaccines now in play, there is hope that the COVID-19 pandemic can be contained quickly. This will help revive business activities.
But it's the poor who are mostly affected. Incomes and jobs have disappeared for many. Inflation has also doubled from 0.9% in 2019 to 2% last year, still one of the lowest in the region. But rising employment and poverty are raising concerns about an economy that's the envy of many countries in West Africa. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Seme, on the Benin-Nigeria border.
A dispute has broken out between Turkey and Italy over an embarrassing moment during a meeting in Ankara recently. Italy's Prime Minister has compared the Turkish president with a dictator. Al Jazeera's Homera has the rest of the story.
This is the awkward meeting dubbed Sofagate. The EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was surprised to be left without a chair during high-level talks in Ankara. The former German defence minister eventually had to sit on a sofa a little further away from her counterparts and opposite Turkey's foreign minister, who was below her in the protocol pecking order. Her spokesman said she didn't dwell on it.
La présidente, clairement, a été surprise.
The president was clearly surprised, and you can see that in the video, but allow me to clarify that however surprised she may have been, she chose to, and I think it was the right approach, she chose to prioritize substance over questions of form or protocol, and that's certainly what European citizens would have expected of her.
But the incident has been met with fierce criticism from EU leaders, including the Italian Prime Minister.
I absolutely disagree with President Erdogan's positions. I think it was inappropriate behaviour. I was very sorry for the humiliation that the President of the EU Commission, von der Leyen, had to suffer.
Turkey has been quick to react and has summoned the Italian ambassador over the growing row. At a news conference, its foreign minister said the seating arrangement was in line with international protocol.
In other words, the seating arrangement was designed to meet their demands and suggestions. Full stop. We wouldn't need to state this explicitly if there were no accusations against Turkey, but there are statements, even from the highest levels, suggesting this was done by Turkey.
Neither the first female head of the EU executive or President Erdogan have commented on the meeting, but it's hoped the incident won't further dampen diplomatic ties between Brussels and Ankara. Hamera Chaudhry, Al Jazeera.
And before we end this edition of the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. Officers critically injured in Gunjur immigration post attack. Bore Toure advises government not to entertain impunity. GTU in consultations with authorities over diesel price increase, spare parts. Victim Center condemns Sheikh Omar Fai's comments. In other news, Mexico government says it will continue to use AstraZeneca. COVID creates economic concerns during Benin presidential election. Turkey fumes after Italian PM Draghi called Erdogan a dictator. That's all for this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for more news. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. And have a very good night and a great weekend ahead.